Louis Crisis Nursery works to prevent child abuse and neglect for children from birth to 12 years. Here to tell us about the resources available are Family Empowerment Counselor Melanie Davis and Program Quality Manager Lindsay Kyonka. Did I say it right? Is that correct?
You did,
Good.
yes.
Thank you both for being here. And we always love having St. Louis Crisis Nursery on. You do such important work. I think a really good way to start, though, this interview is to kind of take a step back. People hear St. Louis Crisis Nursery all the time, but they don't necessarily know what it is that you do. So maybe, Lindsay, can you start us off and not just talk about the mission, but really what actually the Crisis Nursery does?
Absolutely. So really our goal is to be a support for families in the St. Louis area. So what we know is that parenting is really, really difficult. Do you have children of your own?
I do have children, and
yes.
young children.
Yes,
It is difficult.
you know that it can be really, really hard. And so what we find is that there are so many families in our community that just don't have a whole lot of support, and they're trying to balance a whole lot of different things. And so the Crisis Nursery has a variety of programs available in order to provide support for those families. The main program that a lot of families have heard about before is our respite care program. And that's where families that are experiencing a number of crises can give us a call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, whenever they're experiencing anything that's difficult. So what we say is whatever is a crisis for you, we believe is a crisis, because we know that that looks different for each family. So sometimes families call because they don't have a place to sleep that night. Sometimes they call because there's been maybe an incident of violence in the community or in their home, and they need someplace safe for the children to be. But the majority of families really use us because they're just feeling overwhelmed. Like I mentioned, we get a lot of parents who are trying to care for several small children on their own. They're trying to work a full-time job, keep up with the bills, keep food on the table, and that's a lot to manage. And sometimes they just need a little bit of help. And so what they can do is they can give us a call at our hotline number, and they'll get a really sweet intake counselor on the other line that's going to listen to what's going on with the family and figure out if there are some community resources that we can put in place to help solve that crisis. If we talk with that parent a little bit more and determine that they could really use some time for the kids to be with us so that they could work a little bit more on some of those goals, then we'll go ahead and set up an intake time for that family. So that phone assessment piece usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I want to throw up a graphic that we have that gives people a visual when you talk about locations that will help them, because there's multiple locations. We're not just talking about, you're mentioning the hotline, but when we take a look at this is showing different locations. Can you make the distinction? And I think this is a great place, Melanie, for you to jump in too, because there's the distinction between the outreach centers as well as the nursery locations.
Absolutely. So just as Lindsay mentioned, we really want to be there for the family to help to support them through their crisis. But we understand that a crisis lasts longer than 2 or 3 days that we're offered, we're able to offer through our crisis care. So we really want to follow through with the family on a one-on-one basis. Usually we can meet in their home or somewhere they feel comfortable out in the community. And we help set those goals with them, with the family. Because a lot of times families really don't know how to get the services that they really need. So that's where our family empowerment counselors and social workers come in. So we have the 10 different outreach centers in 9 different locations throughout the city of St. Louis, the county, Wentzville and St. Charles, and also in East St. Louis. So we really want families to feel comfortable, and that's not just for families who have used our nurseries, but families that are just maybe in those areas and just need ongoing support or just on the spot support. So they can come and meet with a counselor or a social worker at our outreach centers and get the one-on-one counseling, and we can provide them with area resources, tell them more about what we have to offer at the Crisis Nursery, and then just help them with items if they need that as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I want to get into more details about the programs that you have, but we have to take a quick break. On the screen, we've got some information for you to reach out or share the word about St. Louis Crisis Nursery. You can go to their website at crisisnurserykids.org or call the 24-hour helpline if you're in need, if somebody you know is in need or their family. It's 314-768-3201. But stay with us at STL Live. We'll have more with St. Louis Crisis Nursery right after this break.